So my bet's on you guys. I can hear it in your giddy little voices.
Got the dream team back together. I've got Frey by my side. We're on the bottom edge of this map here, which is Swirley Rock, and the plan is to basically roll on through.
Considering that the other team has an OS 28 in their midst, I felt absolutely no shame in jumping into this one. I also note that this is some opponents that we have seen before. Both Creeps and Cybernetic have been in the past couple of games battling it off against Tank Tom, so this should be a nice, interesting one. We're also on one of my favorite maps over here, Swirley Rock. Really good terrain, really good open battlefield in the middle, as well as hard to assault bases. I really like the asymmetric playstyle of this one, where the bottom of the map has a nice open field to fight through beneath the rocky outcrop, as compared to the top, where there are two outposts that can be used to absolutely tremendous defensive potential. Then there's the entire center to run through. Thankfully, though, it does put a lot of those players in the low ground at the very front, which means that there will be plenty of low ground shenanigans.
Tom's going to come up these cliffs. One of my favourite parts, personally, of this map is Tom's lane. You can go and try and vie for these positions up here, and you get a gauntlet or a persecutor up on these hills. That's got a range right out there. I don't know if it can quite see geos being hit by it, but it certainly can get close.
You can see that the first unit out of both of us is a res bot.
Smart moves, going straight for that metal as well. We've got over 1,000 metal across your lanes. What do we got exactly? Yeah, 700 up there and 700 down here, about 1,400 metal. If that can go onto your team's backlines, it's going to help. And a bit of
one thing you have to bear in mind when you're grabbing these, you actually have to click on one of the plants and then use your control or alt drag out. Otherwise it'll grab a lot of these that are only worth energy. You want the ones that are worth energy and metal, so just bear that one in mind.
Yeah, so you can see there hitting E, holding that alt, and it'll create that circle, and then when you let go, obviously I can't do it in the replay, but it'll grab just those metals and ignore the energies.
Does look like you've managed to take pole position, Tank Tom. You've got yourself on the high ground already with a couple of units that will hopefully put you in a really good spot. Me, on the other hand, looks like there's a com coming right forward, so we'll see how this one goes. Com versus a handful of pawns is going to be quite com favored, especially with that LLT going down.
As long as you're getting that metal in the bank, that's going to be a whole lot of units. So what was that, 700 there? If you go into something like your thugs or even your rocketeers, that's about 6 rocketeers that are going to be paid for just by that reclaim.
I value the metal significantly more than the positioning.
I did not micro those pawns very well. I just thrown them across into the pink player there. I think that's 3 that I've lost at this point.
Yeah, uncharacteristic for you. And there goes another one.
The crazy thing is, even though you're throwing them in pretty badly, the trades haven't been too bad. Like that one that just went down there has managed to kill an injured one and nearly kill a second one, just based on pathing. So certainly a interesting tactic. The pawn is just really, really good, and unless it stays outside the range of the grunt, they do trade quite effectively. A little bit of a micro mistake by me just there.
It's a sleepy start, but you guys are very well established, definitely in the lead economically, and just looking at the statistics as well. The early damage, you guys are all up there for your team. One other player ahead of you.
Unfortunately, no sneaky units into the back line this time. The map is quite long and the ramps are quite high, so it is not always possible to get those units in early on.
That is a lot of defenses going down in front of your lane there. That is so many LOTs.
Oh, wow. We saw this in the last game of, I think it was Sulphur Springs, Tom, in your lane. Someone putting down a whole bunch of LLTs, and they popped in about 2 seconds when just one thing hit them. The chain reaction of the damage between each LLTs is a thing. I wonder if it was exactly this same player. I don't know.
Oh, it was. It definitely was. And that's one thing to definitely bear in mind. This is an OS 21 player, which means that so long as you play better than this, you probably should be able to make it to a higher OS. Because this, if I was a betting man, I would say that this this level of play and this OS has been achieved entirely through the luck of the team that has been placed
Bro got
upon.
carried. Bro got carried.
You cannot do
Things
this.
that I like to
If
do
you're
with
putting
build.
down 5 LLTs, okay. Still too many, but okay. That is a big investment.
You get this
What
constructed,
I like
mate.
to do with LLTs is set them up so that you can get the surround bonus. If you put them at like 45s to where the units are going to come in to attack, then you can get some benefit out of the surround. And you don't need anywhere near as many as what's being invested here.
You can't see them yet, but
Setting
you
up.
do have a Rocketeer, and this one unit by itself can take all of them down.
Well, the interesting thing is what I can see is 2 LLTs, and what I have seen is 2 LLTs and a anti-air, and that is why those Rocketeers are coming nice and early. Really interestingly, just want to look at what's about to happen with this engagement just here, because I've got that radar. I was able to see and I was able to react. I'm pulling these units back to try and get just a couple more of my units into the fight, as well as my comm, potentially an LLT, so that I can take this as favorably as possible. There's no point in engaging in a way that is suboptimal. I'm also grouping my units to the side because I've seen that he's not microing them, and I'm going to try and do a rundown on the side. Which, if you want to know how to do really efficient damage, this is it.
Yeah, getting that
Like,
full
one thing
surround
at a time.
bonus. You see probably about double, maybe even 3 times the units lost for the yellow player compared to you. I reckon you only lost a couple there.
And not only that, I didn't even do that very well. My units were so clumped up that the back half of them weren't even firing. So if I'd done that better with a concave, that would have been significantly more damage.
Yeah, and you've got another 2 thugs worth of metal lying on the ground now to reclaim.
Yeah, boys. Tank Tom's struggling a little bit on that higher lane at the moment. Those thugs trading reasonably well with your pawns, but Mace's coming out.
Yeah.
Now, what I
More
want to see is your
thugs.
comm up there.
My comm's been busy trying to rebuild my energy. I got bombed relatively early, so my wind farm got entirely wiped, and I've been trying to get back up and running since.
Speaking of Rocketeers and LLT walls,
I'm not even target
yeah.
firing
Have we
them.
found our thumbnail?
You'll notice that each time an LLT dies, the one next to it takes about 50% of damage, which means that after a while they will just start coming down in droves.
Yeah, it's happening.
That's so much metal invested. That's so much metal invested.
And he can't even eat any of it at the end of this because there's no rages.
Oh, man. Man, oh, man. All right, so, are you going to go for the comm? Are you going to go for the comm?
Why would I go for comm? I don't care about the comm. I want his base.
Yeah.
Is there
Who
much
cares if he keeps his
defending this?
comm?
Oh, no. I think you've got a bit of a free ticket here, Protus.
No, that's not why I was excited about this game.
Let's watch where we might learn something about the game.
Yeah, let's not watch this failed attack.
The pink player actually had more units up here, but you've been repairing. I saw on the minimap you've been repairing and reclaiming with this one. Lazarus unfortunately goes down, and you're still taking hold of that hill, and you got the comm coming up as well. That is not
What
a
I've
bad
done
start.
is make sure that I've got units for the surround on that, so that I'm never fighting 1v1, even if there's like 4 or 5 units each. Trying to have 2 or 3 units on one of his, and then through the attrition you end up with more units overall.
Yeah.
Basically what Prey did earlier, where you target fire one of them, kill that, move on to the next one, rather than fighting army into army.
You guys are doing very good, but there is definitely a bit of an advantage for the red team through this lane here. They've taken those middle mexes. There's probably an extra, what is that, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They haven't taken those ones. They've got 12 extra metal coming in. No, more than that. 16-ish.
This is one of the times where you have to zoom out and have a look at the map and make an assessment. Right now, just based on how defensive our players are, I don't feel like there's any risk of a breakthrough. Yes, the enemy team might have a decently better position across the middle, but I don't think we're at risk of anyone particularly losing. If we were, my decision making would be to reinforce the middle and try and keep that up and running, or push much harder, much faster to try and pull some of that defenses back. And I would have been communicating with Tank Tom to do something similar, because our combined units could easily sweep through and deal a lot of damage to this middle. But dealing damage to defenses and dealing damage to armies is not. Yes, look. No risk of running through. Whoops. Didn't see this happening during the game. My bad. Still, it's gonna get cleaned up, probably.
Taking out the three build power though, that really does affect this middle player because they are not producing units now. These units still going.
We need some.
Nicely done by Zwadi.
This is where an active air player makes a very big difference.
At this point, I've started scouting what's going on because we've got this bottom side locked down fairly well, and we're pushing forward. I've got a couple of those maces that are just going for a walk to see what we can find.
Yeah.
Because we're fighting behind the front line now, they either have to bring stuff from the front line back or direct everything from their lab to deal with this, which then weakens their front line over the next 30 seconds or so.
Now, a criticism, not for you guys though, and you do see this quite often in the lower level lobbies. The air player here has just built an air wall. Oh, here we go. I was about to say they've just kept all their units back. Your advantage is over here, so we want to see air units sitting here. We knew that the shurikens were attacking previously, and that's going to be the risk. Prey does has a commander there, dropping down the nettles, which is really good, but still, this army can be held back if these shurikens come and pounce, because there isn't much anti-air going down.
Really should have added crossbows into my build. I was far enough ahead that a couple of crossbows as a safety measure would not have been a bad thing at all.
Even if you built a T1 lab where your commander was, just put out 2 or 3 and then reclaimed it again. Possible option. Takes about, I reckon, minute and a half to do that.
Well, now that bombing run's come through, both of us have dropped a couple of those nettles, so we should be relatively safe. At least at this location.
Safe now that Zwati's commander down has just gone down. Zwati was actually doing very good on the day. He was part of a lot of the games and I think always turned up against you rather than with you. One of the more powerful
Was
players.
Zwati the player that did the comm drop
Yes.
that destroyed Yeah, that was disgusting.
Yes.
That was absolutely
That was
disgusting.
great.
Yeah, go check out that video, guys. It was on Cells, the map Cells. I think 2 videos previous to this one, maybe 3.
I missed this bombing run through the middle here. Probably because it looks like it never actually landed.
Yeah, that's because they weren't bombers. They're fighters.
One's at the back of bombers, but they never made it past halfway, so never actually did anything.
T2 for orange in the middle of the map. So I say the race is on it. So you guys trying to take your lanes before the middle gets punched through. Very defensive walls up here for Pemex, Snake. Green player here is Big H. Does have plenty of whistlers if they're microed properly. Actually, nah, Sheldons take them down easy.
Absolutely easy.
And with that range, they're easily outranged by the Sheldons as well. I'd actually be keeping the Sheldons further back and just pinging off the closest ones so that you don't take any damage.
If you're in the Whistler tech when the Sheldons come out and you haven't done a lot of damage with it, it's a big problem. However,
got a big push coming
speaking
through.
of big problems,
Both of us have got that group of units and are going at the same time.
You do have an army not being used though, Prey. Too complacent, out of practice.
It's not even that. It came back for repairs, and then I forgot to repair it because I saw reclaim.
Hey, so you were doing pro moves, you just weren't pro microing.
I was just bad at it.
Hey, but your commander is unfortunately the bombers now coming through.
Yeah, definitely didn't leave those units there for a while.
They're good distractions. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly that. You've got maces, Tom, and you're doing some nice separations, going in multiple directions and doing base damage to Tomcat. Essentially dead. If you can get some wind to pop here, are they grouped together?
Yeah.
We love seeing those juicy
Win the mid.
farms that are...
If this base goes down, I reckon your team's got this.
Based on the fact
And
that
all of
we've
this
dusted
juicy
entire
wind has
bottom
been
corner.
grouped together nicely. Just have to get the right... Actually, there's plenty of repair going on over here.
Yeah.
But there is even more maces coming through. I thought those were enemy maces, but they are allied maces. This wind should start popping in no time.
You did this in a previous game. This will pop eventually, but there is so much build power here. If they weren't repairing themselves, that probably wouldn't have popped. I'd be trying to always pop the build power before the eco. seems to go down faster, but anyway, enough maces there to do the damage.
And shutting down that build power, shutting down some of that regular power, and then moving on to the next player. Definitely a good move here. If these maces can pop that next wind section, this is going to be a really big problem, because you're doing it during the transition for these players into T2, which means they can't get there. They can't get a response out, and they'll run out of resources because of this. Trying to do too much at once without that secure front, and because there's no more units coming from behind, the overwhelming T1 is pushing through that T2 on the front lines, and you've managed to crack the front line egg. So even though the positioning was good and the extra metal was nice for the red team, getting hollowed out from behind does not help matters.
Oh wow, you've even got units into red space.
T2 coming out.
See that one? Good response.
You might as well hit everything.
But unfortunately, not quite enough.
As I say, it was a good timing with when you pushed as well, because the red was just going into their T2 gunship, so they didn't have enough out to make enough of a difference with your maces, and only a few on the field by the time your maces got well into the back line.
With this game, I specifically went for the maces, so I had something a bit chunkier. I figured it was likely going to be a strong T1 push, and rather than doing it with pawns and things that can get taken down relatively easy, this game I went for the maces to try and have that chunkier front line to basically steamroll through if I came up against resistance.
Can Prey get the commander before the gunships take out all of these units?
No, definitely not. There is way too much here.
A lot of gunships, and no air reacting as well. But the air is...
I know! I'm so mad at myself. I even knew I should have gotten mobile anti-air, but no.
No. I'm calling it. That is the air player's job. There are currently 75 fighters.
It would have been nice to have some air cover. With air cover, that would have cleaned up the game.
Yeah. Hey, and those whistlers that almost died to the shot and bolt still alive there for this player.
My comm is running away because I knew these were coming. Drop down a couple of extra nettles. It's just like, run, boy, run.
Oh, well, that's it. The writing was all on the wall there with this many units coming forward. Red definitely the dominant player in the background, but you guys pushed that lane, or the bottom two lanes, way too hard. The middle did almost fall, but it held. Everyone held their own.
We can call that middle fallen at that point. When
the middle
was 3 bases across the front.
Yeah,
I think it's safe to call it dead.
All right, off the graphs, damage dealt there. You guys consistently high throughout that game.
But then you can see that point where Tank Tom got into the back line. All of that damage and that big spike was Tank Tom crippling the eco of 3 players, which is what turned the frontline fight around.
You go over to the energy produce that's around the area, you see some of those ecos getting a bit slower instead of continuing their ramp up. All right. That was a quick one. That was a good one.
Very nicely done. It was fun to get into a game with you. I did want to join you on your road to 25, but until you're in lobbies with the right sort of mix of players, I didn't feel like it was appropriate to jump on in.
Yep.
Hopefully, though, we'll be seeing some even higher OS games as the road to 25 progresses, and we might even see Twig jumping in towards the very, very end. Let's see if we can't lose him some big chunks of OS by losing right as he is the highest OS player on the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comments if you want to see us tank Twig's OS.
We will put a thank you out to one of the legend regulars of ARNL, Fisher Mike, making the comment in a previous video that Prey should jump in with Tom. So we actually do read and listen to the comments. Just don't go suggesting that I jump in. It's not going to happen.
We must tank the OS of Twig during the process of raising the OS of Tank Tom.
He's going to carry us. That's how it works.
Not even.
Oh no, I'm gonna control D. My comment is base. I will happily sack my own OS to destroy his, because for every point I lose, he'll lose 5.
So Tom has now won something like 7 or 8 of these games in a row. I would not be surprised if we see this series come to an end if he gets there anytime soon. I am going to force you though, Tom, jump into some of those higher OS lobbies. I want to see you try something else that's not frontline lane, because you've been doing a few of those, so maybe we can see some eco
But I can
plays
do
or
those well.
we know we want to see you become an all-rounder. And guys, jump in the comments after this series is over. What do you want to see? Like I said, I ain't jumping in as much as I'd love to, but we'll definitely look for producing another series, whether it's these guys getting up to 30, join me in the 30s, or some
Drink to the
smaller
moon.
games. Maybe. Let us know what you want to say.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We will catch you next time.
See you guys.